Hello, welcome to the video for rounding decimals, our first video we're making for 5th grade math. So I'm excited. Right now, all you have to do is sit quietly and pay attention. One thing you want to do is take out a pencil and paper, and we'll be ready to go. And also, Alright, so let's talk about rounding decimals, really. Our first number here we will have the number 2 and 38 hundredths. And we're going to be rounding this number to the nearest tenth right now, rounding it to the nearest tenth. You'll notice that we underlined the 3, which is in the tenth place. There's two things that you're going to need to know to tell when you mastered rounding decimals. Right? One of them is you're going to need to know how to round to any place value. You can round to any place value. And you can round on a number line. So we're going to show you to do two different ways for rounding 2 and 38 hundredths using the number line and rounding it to the place value of tenth. Okay, when you're rounding to any place value, rounding decimals is nothing different than rounding whole numbers either, okay? Right here you see that we have 3 in the tenths place, so you have to look at the number in the hundredths place. You'll see there that it's an 8, which, if you remember the rule, it's going to tell you to go up to the next highest decimal. So when you're rounding to the tenths place here, don't forget this is the tenth, the number is going to become 2 and 4 tenths because it's going up to the next place value up. You could say 2 and 40 hundredths, right? But in reality, you don't need that because 2 and 4 tenths equals 2 and 40 hundredths. We don't really like to write the zeros to the right of the decimal place if we don't need it. So what's important to note here is that 2 and 38 hundredths rounds to 2 and 4 tenths because we're rounding to the tenths. And now let's look at that second part. Putting the number on a number line is important. So rounding on a number line, you'll see I drew one right here. It's an open number line, meaning it can go all the way up that way. It's infinity. So we're going, since we're rounding to the tenths, we're going to make sure we count by tenths. So a tenth that's lower than this is 2 and 2 tenths, and then 2 and 3 tenths, and 2 and 4 tenths. You should recognize that. Again, this could also be written as 2 and 20 hundredths, 2 and 30 hundredths. These are all equivalent, but they are unnecessary. Alright, so you see that I put the other lines in there to show my number line, how I'm counting on the number line, and that's going to be key when you're rounding here. Alright, so where can we find 2 and 38 hundredths on this number line? We know that this is 2 and 3 tenths or 2 and 30 hundredths right there. So 2 and 38 hundredths is going to be right here. By showing this number on a number line, we're recognizing that it is clearly closer to, it's closer to the 2 and 4 tenths there. So let's recap exactly how we're doing that, okay? I'm going to give you a step-by-step basis. What I want you to do is write this down. The first thing you're going to want to do is draw a number line with 3 marks. And you can see I've done that here. So what I'd like you to do is write this down. Copy this down on your piece of paper. Step 1, draw a number line with 3 marks. You can pause the video while you're writing it. Again, if you want to pause the video while you write this down, that's fine. But step 2 is going to be label the 3 marks with the place value that you're rounding to. Don't forget the numbers on the left. So in this case, we're rounding to the tenths place, right? So we need to make sure that we label this 2 and 2/10, 2 and 3/10, 2 and 4/10. When I say don't forget the number on the left, it's don't forget this 2 and that 2 right there. You don't want to forget those. Copy that down, please. All right, the next step, step 3, is going to be draw 9 marks in between 2 of the 3 marks you made. We're talking about right here. We're going to draw those marks in. You can see that I did that. So if you count them, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? This is the 10th one, which moves us to the next period up, right? So what you're going to do with that, you'll do them on both sides. And the reason that is because these are your equivalent decimals, right? Now this, if this is 2 and 20 hundredths or 2 and 2/10, this is 2 and 21. 2 and 22 hundredths. I'm not going to label every single one of these, but I think you can understand. If this is 2, that's 2 and 3/10, that's 2 and 30 hundredths, and this is 2 and 40 hundredths. All right, you copied down step 3, and now copy down 4. Mark your original number on the number line. This is 2 and 38 hundredths. I think now that we have these numbers written down, you can find it pretty easily. 2 and 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37. It's right here. 2 and 38 hundredths. And your final step is going to be round to the closest number. You can see that 2 and 38 hundredths is clearly closest to this 10th. We've been rounding to the 10th the entire time. Here's a 10th, 2, that's 10, 2, and 4/10 is the correct answer. Let's try this together for 2 different problems and see how well you do. So make sure you have empty space on your paper to do this. All right, do this with us right now. We're going to round 18 and 74 hundredths to the nearest 10th. Underline that 10th. So what you need to do right now is draw a number line with 3 marks, just like I did below. You can pause the video and resume it after you complete each one of these steps. All right, step 2 is you have to label the 3 marks with the places you're rounding to. Don't forget the numbers on the left. There's an E missing in the. Anyway, we're rounding to the 10th, so you should be focused on these numbers right here. That's what you should put on the number line. And that's how I did it right there. If you put 18 and 6/10, that's also fine. Don't worry about it, but you should have something that looks relatively like that. All right, let's do the next step now. Next is draw 9 marks in between 2 of the 3 marks that you made. You can see how I did that. Just like that. And this one I'll do with you right here. So step 4 is to mark your original number on the number line. In order to do that, you got to make sure you recognize that 8 and 7/10 is also 70 hundredths. I mean 18. 18 and 80 hundredths, and 18 and 90 hundredths. We're looking for 74 hundredths. 18 and 74 hundredths, which would be right there. And finally, we'll round to the closest number, step 5. So you can see that here we're going to be looking at going down 18 and 7/10. You need to know how to do this on a number line. It's important. Let's try and do something a little different now. We'll do the same thing, only we'll make it into round into the hundredths place with a different number, and we'll see if you can do it on the number line yourself. All right, what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to try to do all these steps on your own. You're going to round 1 and 316 thousandths to the nearest hundredth. I've underlined my hundredths place, so don't forget about this step over here when you're doing it. You're not going to be writing down tenths now. All right? So pause the video, see if you can do it on your own, and see if you get the same answer as me. All right, so what I would do here, number line 3 marks, label the 3 marks of the place you're rounding to, right? So this is going to be 1. If you didn't get that, I'd like you to write that down on your own, correct your work, and then try the rest of these before watching the rest of this video. Next step, we can do this. We know that that's what this is going to be, right? 1 and 320 thousandths, 1 and 330 thousandths, and now what we're looking for is 1 and 316. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So my number is here, 1 and 316 thousandths. It's going to round to this. Even if you got this correct answer, you have to make sure you know how to put it on the number line, because if you don't, you're going to need a little extra help with some of the word problems or some of the problems in the book. All right? Again, if you're not sure how to do it, I would recommend rewatching the video, or at least rewatching the step-by-step basis on how you put these on a number line. I think that'll help you the most. Good luck, and please hand in your work.